Picture this: billions of dollars, government programs meant to help the vulnerable, and a trail of money so confusing that even investigators struggle to follow it. Now imagine that trail leads straight into the heart of state government. Tonight's story is not about a proven crime. It's about allegations, investigations, and the unsettling silence that follows when power is questioned. This video does not declare guilt. No court has issued a final verdict, and no conviction has been handed down. But what has happened is enough to raise serious questions. Questions involving Minnesota's government, massive sums of money, and growing public scrutiny. This is a true crime story hiding inside bureaucracy. Tim Walz has long been one of Minnesota's most recognizable political figures. A former teacher, a veteran, a governor who built his image around stability, leadership, and public service. For years, his administration oversaw sprawling state programs involving education, public aid, and economic relief, programs that moved enormous amounts of money, often very quickly. And that's where this story begins. In true crime, money is almost always the motive. And when we're talking about billions, the crime doesn't look obvious. It doesn't involve masked robbers or broken safes. It involves invoices, grants, nonprofits, layers of approval. According to investigative reporting and public records, authorities began examining whether certain state funds were improperly distributed or exploited by fraudulent actors. At the center of the concern? Oversight, or the alleged lack of it. Some claims suggest that money intended for public assistance may have been routed through organizations that did not properly use the funds. Again, these are allegations, but the scale is what caught attention. We're not talking about thousands or millions. We're talking about numbers so large that even a fraction being misused would represent one of the biggest financial failures in state history. True crime isn't always about a single villain. Sometimes it's about a system that quietly fails. When governments move fast, especially during emergencies, rules loosen. Oversight weakens. Paperwork piles up. And when that happens, fraud doesn't kick down the door. It walks right in. As scrutiny intensified, political pressure reportedly began to mount. Campaigns depend on confidence, on trust, on the belief that leadership is under control. And when questions about billions of dollars remain unanswered, even rumors can become politically radioactive. This is where claims surface suggesting the governor's future political plans were suddenly uncertain. To be clear, investigations do not equal guilt. Allegations do not equal convictions. But history tells us that major corruption cases often begin exactly like this, quietly. From Illinois to New Jersey to Louisiana, some of the largest public corruption cases in U.S. history started with audits. Not arrests, not raids, just questions. Who approved this? Who signed off? And who benefited? One of the most unsettling parts of this story is what isn't being said. When scandals break, responses usually come fast: denials, explanations, press conferences. But in alleged financial misconduct cases, silence is often strategic, because every word becomes evidence. True crime teaches us something uncomfortable. The most damaging crimes often look legal until they're not. They hide behind complexity, behind committees, behind plausible deniability. And by the time accountability arrives, the money is gone. So the real question isn't who's guilty. It's whether the full truth will ever come out. Were warning signs ignored? Did oversight fail? Or is this something much bigger than one administration? As investigations continue and facts slowly emerge, one thing is clear: this story is far from over. In true crime, paper trails are the fingerprints no one can wipe away. Every grant approval, every invoice, every signature. According to public records and reporting, investigators began piecing together how funds moved, where they were supposed to go, and where they allegedly ended up. And here's the thing about large-scale fraud: it almost never happens all at once. Oversight reports allegedly flagged concerns long before the public ever heard about this. Delayed audits, missing documentation, organizations failing to meet basic requirements. In many historic corruption cases, these are the warning signs that appear again and again. Not proof of guilt, but proof that something wasn't right. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Governments don't lose billions overnight. They lose it slowly, through ignored warnings, rushed approvals, and assumptions that someone else is paying attention. Oversight exists for a reason. When it fails, or is allegedly sidelined, the consequences are massive. One question keeps resurfacing. Who was responsible for stopping this? Was it agency leadership, auditors, elected officials? In true crime, responsibility often blurs until everyone claims it belonged to someone else. In many large corruption cases, the truth doesn't come from the top. It comes from insiders, employees who notice inconsistencies, accountants who see numbers that don't add up, officials who raise concerns and get ignored. While not all details are public, history suggests that when investigations reach this level, someone spoke up. Even without a verdict, scandals extract a price. Public trust erodes. Campaigns stall. Allies distance themselves. Politics runs on perception, and allegations alone can change careers. This is where claims began circulating about uncertain political futures and internal pressure. Again, to be absolutely clear, allegations are not conclusions. But accountability doesn't require conviction to matter. Look back at past government fraud cases. The pattern is always the same. At first, officials say it's a misunderstanding. Then they say it's isolated. Then they say they didn't know. And finally, the full scope comes into focus. When public money is allegedly misused, the victims aren't politicians. They're taxpayers, families relying on aid, communities that never see the help promised to them. That's why these stories matter, even before the final chapter is written. In Part 2, we'll look at what happens next, how investigations typically unfold, what accountability could look like, and why some cases quietly disappear. Because the most dangerous moment in any scandal is when the public stops paying attention. Subscribe, stay informed, and, as always, question everything. If you care about accountability, transparency, and the darker side of power, stay tuned. Drop your thoughts in the comments, subscribe for updates, and remember, the most dangerous crimes don't always look like crimes at first.